Oh, we don't need the text yet, do we? We can just come up here and say hi. Hi,
Hello.
everyone.
Good evening, morning, wherever. I don't know. There's all sorts of
It's
crazy time zones.
it's all blurring together for you, isn't it? Isn't it, Josh? Oh, wait,
Wait
hold
a
on.
second.
That's not
Wait.
Josh. Who the hell is that?
Well, I
What's
mean,
going
yeah,
on?
this guy is incredibly good looking, and Josh is Josh.
Yeah, that's it. Good evening, everyone. My apologies for those of you who've been sitting around for the last 30 minutes wondering what the hell you're going to be doing with your Thursday evening, because look, it's 5:30 and ordinarily we'd be halfway through Ibrit by now, but here's the skinny. Dr. Josh is at a trumpet recital. These things happen when you have children. And as a result, he's unable to make it tonight. So I pulled out the old Rolodex there and I gave it a twirl, and it landed on Dr. Joel Carica. Woo!
Yay.
So
The guy down the hill from you, aka.
just down the hill from me.
Yeah, you could throw a stone at me.
How you doing, Joel?
Yeah, I'm good. We were just talking about. Well, first off, this is so dumb, but when
You're
you said
looking
Trump,
ruddy.
thank you. Yeah, thank you. I'm very tanned. I was just on vacation with my family on the Oregon coast. Just got back last night. But when you said Josh had a trumpet recital, I actually thought it was his own. I didn't connect it to his kids. Like, the guy plays jazz trumpet.
Yeah, man.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, know it.
He would. The seriologist would.
He probably would. I played the trumpet in high school band. So and I was pretty good. But
I
I'm
played
sure not as
saxophone.
You played saxophone.
Yeah, alto, but only till
Rock
grade
on.
9, and then I played guitar for 10, 11, 12,
Right.
jazz band. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
So and still play the guitar or the bass mostly?
No,
Because you
mostly.
played the
No, I didn't play bass. No, electric and acoustic guitar.
Oh, okay. I thought you played the bass at church. Did you guys know
No.
this? That years and years ago, Joel and I actually attended the same church.
We didn't know each other, but we did.
Not at all. But he you know, he was a kid and I was a young parent. So I was in the audience at this big church just trying to keep my kids under control, and he was playing bass, or sorry, guitar.
Electric. I would have been playing electric. Yeah.
Guitar. So up
Wow.
on the worship stage. Crazy times, right? And now here we are together on Ibrit, the show that brings the show that brings people together after 20 years. It's good to see everyone. I'm happy to see you all here. Stefan G is here. Stardust Lilith has finally caught a live show. It's good to see. Stardust Lilith just named her new Labrador puppy, Dr. Kipp. Joel Carica.
Oh, wow. Incredible. That's super
Pretty
cool.
exciting, right? Yeah.
Speaking of pets, if you can hear a yowling, my cat is outside of the door currently yowling.
Oh, okay. That's awesome.
So if the mic picks it up, he's right there just yowling.
It's hilarious. Good to see Rena Vaste. Matt T is one of my Hebrew students. Good to see him in the house. Cuneiform guy is here. Maya Atkinson is here as usual. Andrew is here. Colton Honeycutt is here. Riley, Tammy, another one of my my budding Hebrew students, is here. Benzion Castro is here. And yeah, it's good to see. There's a whole bunch of people here. It's awesome. Thanks for showing up, guys.
Hatik vote.
Did you see a hot? Oh yes, of course. Erev Hatikva.
Yeah.
This is the lore, Joel. You should know this. You watch my stuff. No, you don't.
I watch some of your stuff. Let's be real.
how this works, right? It's all because of this.
I can say, Ahavtika, I love you.
It's just the
There
most
it is. Hatikva.
tikva. Oh my god. It never gets old, dude. It never does. It is the meme that shall never die. Here,
And
at
it should
least.
never die. It should never
It
die.
really shouldn't. It shouldn't, because it's that goddamn funny. And I wish more people understood that. But what can we do except help the people to understand by reading Hebrew?
Absolutely. That's what we're here
So,
for.
that's what we're here for. And here's the rundown, guys. This is the show where we read Hebrew text and we nerd out a little bit about the language. Now I hear the cat.
He just won't shut up. He's right there.
That's
One sec.
hilarious.
Well, I'm just going to talk
Okay,
to him.
are you
But Sherlock, stop. Sherlock, that's enough.
It's a cat.
Dude, Sherlock is a very sensitive cat. He knows what he's talking about.
All right. Got it. So, this is the show where we nerd out about the language while reading Hebrew text. We're currently reading through Psalm 104, and we're starting off on verse 8. Each of us will take turns reading a verse, translating it, parsing the verbs, and talking about some of the interesting textual features that are going on here. I know Joel's excited because he's zoned in on some of those interesting textual features.
Have I?
Didn't you? You told me that you had all this data that you have.
I've got.
compiled.
Yeah, I've got some stuff, but honestly, yeah, I mean, we'll just talk about some Hebrew. Yeah, Ahavtika is what Wes said in the audio. I don't think it was Wes. It was actually John Mead.
John Mead.
Who said,
yes.
Yeah. But whoever did the editing of the video, that's right, just wrote the wrong thing. Yeah.
That's all. That's all they did. And then when they attempted to turn it into a verb, they made it worse. So yes. Were you answering a question?
I saw in the chat. Yeah. Hebrew hair. Yeah.
Yeah. So Hebrew hair is Jace from the Hebrew Cafe, where he teaches people to read Hebrew as well. It's pretty great.
Is his first name Jason?
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen him on Nerdy Biblical Language Majors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have.
Nice. Yeah. He's always got good comments. Hello, Jason.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, we're picking up here with verse 8. Are you ready to go?
Yeah, I'll go for it. Why not?
You go for it.
All right, for all of our nerdy Hebrew friends out there. All right, let's I'll read it, I'll translate it, and then we can go from there. Yeah. I have 1 second here. Okay. Ya'alu harim yeredu bekoot el mekom ze yasadta lachem. So they ascended mountains, they went down in valleys to place of this you established for them. Now it's a very, very wooden translation.
Very wooden translation.
Yeah, and I'm doing that for a reason, because I want to talk about that last little bit there when we get there, because I think there's a lot of fun to be had.
All right, I'm excited about it.
Yeah. All right. So we're in the middle of the psalmist talking about how God established the foundations of the earth. That was what came before, laid the primordial waters on top of that. You probably talked about this with Josh already, like earlier on. In verse 7, they're fleeing at the rebuke of God's word and his theophonic, thunder-like voice. And now we've come to this verse here. So first verb is, and if I remember correctly, I kind of just parse, right? Is that kind of what we do?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, first verb is a third masculine plural, imperfectives, like a yiktol, I don't know, do you use that terminology in your class? Yiktol?
No, I don't actually, but that's fine.
What do you use?
I just a hifil, or we just used the the stem names.
The stem names. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I'll call it an imperfective because like a prefix
Yeah.
conjugation. Like I don't know, whatever you guys.
You can use imperfective or prefix conjugation. We
Okay.
use both of those in our class.
Okay, just making sure here. So we've got a cal imperfect, and that's despite the A class vowel under the yod. So that might confuse some of your friends out there, your students.
It's true.
Yeah, it's an A class vowel because of the guttural that we have that begins the verbal root there. So Allah is the verb we have. They ascended, to ascend, Allah, with the ayin as the first radical. And so cal imperfects receive a patach when we have a first guttural ayin like this under, or first guttural often. So that's why you have that there. So it's not hifil, as some might think. It's not. It's just a cal. Second vowel there also could confuse you. Normally with a yiktol, third masculine plural, or imperfective, you'd expect a silent shava under the first radical. So yik telu. And a vocal shava under the second. However, we don't have a third radical in this one. So it's just
also
disappeared.
Third hey.
It's also third hey, exactly. Yeah, so we've lost that final radical, and that screws with your diagnostics for what you'd expect for regular verbs. So sorry about that. You might also ask where the heck that third radical hey went. Third hey verbs drop the hey in many of the conjugations, and this is one of them. So it's just gone. Poof. So it leaves you with the first two radicals, and because gutturals don't like silent schwas, we instead have a hatef patach, a little guy there. Now, you might see this imperfective and think it has a present reference in time, right? Imperfective, you might think, oh, it's talking about something currently going on. Maybe you do. Have you guys got? Do you guys? How far are you in your class? Have you talked about like temporality?
We are not talking about syntax.
Oh, you haven't. Okay, you're not talking about syntax, temporality.
We're very
and all
early in our class, but there's on the stream here too. We're set at a little bit of a higher level, so we do get into some of these syntax questions a little bit more over here.
Well, I mean, all I'm really getting at is that you're not going to find temporality inherently encoded in these conjugations or in the prefix form or the suffix form. It's going to be contextually located. So here we know that the psalmist is referring back to creation. That's what we were talking about before. So something that's happened in the past. So the imperfect is probably envisioning the act as like a process here, or looking at it kind of like as it's a vivid way of it's ongoing in front of them as they're looking at it. This kind of past continual thing going on, like you're watching the process.
Yeah, that's a good
you find this plural verb. Yeah, and you have to ask, what's the referent here? And so this is also kind of tricky, right? Because what's the verbal subject? And you might be tempted to think that harim is the verbal subject, right? Like mountains ascend or something, because it's this plural. It's right there. It's the beginning of the verse. That is actually not the case. And so it's a little tricky that way, especially since we often Hebrew is going to be a VSO language, right? Verb, subject, object, often, arguably as a set pattern or as a default pattern, I should say. But the subject is not harim, mountains. It's actually the waters all the way back in verse 6. You would have talked about this last time.
Yeah.
It's the mayim and the primordial tahom, right? And so that's what it is. So the waters ascended mountains. And it's like, okay, they ascended up mountains. Like we kind of want to insert a preposition in English there. That's not how the verb Allah works. Allah just takes a direct object and it inherently means like to ascend up something. So we would say like the waters ascended up mountains or ascended mountains, even I guess could work, but that's not, there's no prepositional phrase in Hebrew there. All right, we'll move to the next one. Yeah, move to the next verb.
Yeah.
Yeredu. So another tricky one here. It's another third masculine plural imperfect, prefix conjugation. However, in this one, we have not lost the third radical, but the first first yod verbs. So this is yarad, the verb yarad. When combined with the prefix for the imperfective, a yod, that's what you'd add in, right? It squishes these yods together and outbursts of the longer vowel underneath, right? And so the two yods come together and bursts out. They give birth to a longer vowel.
To a sere.
Yes. Sere, yeah, under the yod. So that's a diagnostic trait for that, for the first yods in the imperfect. So for those who want to know. So again, because we lost a radical, the typical pattern for the third masculine plural isn't here. There's just a vocal schwa under the resh because the previous sere is an open syllable. So there you go again. It's not typical diagnostic stuff. So this verb is going to present the same problem that we saw before. What is the subject, right? What is the grammatical subject of Yeredu? And again, it's actually the waters, right? You might be tempted to try and find somewhere else, but it's the waters. So the waters ascended mountains, the waters descended in Bekaot, in valleys. So Bekaot is from Bika, valley. The vocalization changes when that big old feminine ending. You can all see that for those of you who know a little bit a bit of Hebrew, the ot ending, that big ending comes in, and so it's changing the vocalization from Bika to Bekaot, with the stress leaving the beginning and the shortening of the vowels at the beginning, which often happens. All right. So where do the waters end up? Am I going too slow here, Kipp?
You could probably pick it up a little bit.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I don't know how detailed you'd prefer me to be, but a bow tie is absolutely needed. I don't have a bow tie. I don't even own one.
No. I also
cat?
don't own one.
Yeah.
You have a cat. Josh also has a cat.
I could wear my cat around my neck, or actually one of my cats I can wear around my neck. Not this one. One of them wouldn't even care at all. Okay, I'll be less detailed here. So where do the waters end up? So they're fleeing from the rebuke, tumbling down these valleys, and it says to Makomza, to place of this. And this is kind of a strange thing. And it's strange because, well, one, place of this just sounds weird to us. Makom is in construct, and so you can see that with the comment, or the schwa instead of the comets. I think this just means to this place. Someone can correct me, like to place of this, it's to a place like this, a place. I don't know. Do you know any more about that kind of construction, Kipp? I didn't look at the commentary.
In the construct.
Yeah. I'm looking place of this.
No, instead of just treating it like a regular attributive adjective. Yeah, I don't know. I just oftentimes I assume when you see these sorts of things that this is a poetic thing, right? Just a product.
Jason says that a place of Zeh should be place of Asher, place of which, potentially, yeah. We do have a textual variant here. Do I have it?
Shall I? Do you want me to pull it up?
You can. It actually doesn't matter. So you can see that Zeh is actually missing in some manuscripts. So it's just place of you established for them, which is interesting because we're about to talk about what's going on there with the syntax. There is also a Dead Sea Scrolls variant here. A on the screen here would note that, which is, I think it's 2Q14, has vele or ulehu le. So and they went to. So
okay.
Yeah. So there's also that. So some textual things going on here that are strange. But I wanted to finish my verse here on something. I'm gonna linger on this, and I promise that everything else I prepped after this is much shorter. Yeah. I like Jason's given some great thoughts here on the side here.
Yes.
Yeah.
So.
It calls to mind. I can't see it there.
Amzo gal. Is it
Galta? Galta,
yeah. Yeah, it's Galta.
Yeah, the people which you redeemed. Oh, okay, so
yep.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, it could be functioning as so he's saying that the Zeh is functioning as a relative pronoun which is connecting to the next sentence. However, I think you could take it otherwise, especially because Z is missing in some manuscripts. So I call this next syntactical element, it's badass. This is great. I love this. So we just read, the waters descended to the place of, or to the place of this. And now we have Yasadta Lahem. Why is a verb here out of nowhere, right? They send it to the place of, you establish for them. That doesn't make sense. How does that syntactically make sense? How do we make, what's going on? And so this is an awesome piece now of Hebrew syntax information for you all out there. And it's actually going to connect in a huge way to a very important exegetical issue. So what we have here is called an unmarked restrictive relative clause. And you might say, what on earth is that? It's actually very important. And if you want to know a very cool piece of exegetical information that will inform how you read some of the most important passages in the Bible, you need to know this. So a relative clause is going to tell you something about a noun, as in the man who ate cheese. Who ate cheese, that's a relative clause. We accomplish these types of clauses with who, which, that, whom in English, right? So Hebrew has relative clauses, which we often expect to be marked with what Jason said, asher, which. However, in some instances, the relative pronoun asher is completely absent. That is what we call an unmarked relative clause. The same thing can happen in English. As in, if I said, where did Joel buy cheese? And then went, oh, the store Joel went to. Notice that when I say the store Joel went to, that I'm actually implying a relative pronoun. The full way to say it would be the store that Joel went to, right? You see how there's a relative pronoun just absent, even though it still made sense to you. Like that's still there in the for the meaning of what I'm saying. That's an unmarked relative clause. So this happens in Hebrew as well, and it happens a lot, and especially in the Psalms, but also elsewhere. And famously now we're getting to the meat. Where does this happen? Does anyone in the chat know? Oh, not you, Jason. You're too smart. Anyone else know the most famous unmarked relative clause? Oh, Jason, he gave it away. He just gave it away. Yeah. Genesis 1:1.
Genesis 1:1. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a big debate here. Bereshit bara Elohim. In the beginning created God. So in beginning created God, or in the beginning created God. Now, traditionally, this has been read as an absolute independent clause. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. So that's a very traditional Bible translation. But this has been questioned in a few ways in the recent past and in the past. So one, the text could be, so now I'm hopping to Genesis for a second, just because I'm going to show you how cool this is. The text could be a dependent, and why this is important for unmarked relative clauses and restrictive relative clauses in particular. So the text in Genesis 1:1 could be a dependent clause if we repoint the text. So take these vowels, kick them out, and you could change bara to baro, which would be an infinitive construct. So to create. So the prepositional phrase bereshit being taken temporally then, with the bait signaling when. So when to create God, or when God began to create, or when at first to create God, something like that. So being more colloquial with when at first God created the heavens and the earth was functionless and void. So that's a dependent clause, right? When God began to create, when Joel went to the store, when Steve ate cheese. Like that's not a complete sentence, right? It's dependent on a finite verb. You need to complete it, and you need an independent clause. So that's one option, to repoint like that, baro. And then the other option is to not repoint it, but take it as in the beginning of, so taking bereshit in construct form, beginning of which God created. So again, just construct with a finite verb, beginning of which God created. But that doesn't happen really in Hebrew syntax. And so Homestead was mentioned in the comments here by Jason, and Homestead points that out. You don't really see that in Hebrew syntax. So arguably some people tried to make the case, but not really. So that now here's finally the payoff. The best option is to take Genesis 1:1 as a drum roll restrictive unmarked relative clause, which is what we're seeing here in the Psalm 2. So in that verse, it would be bereshit in construct form. So in other words, in I'm going to say the beginning, but there's a whole thing on why it would be the beginning instead of a beginning. But in the beginning of which, so there's your construct. In the beginning of construct, which there's your unmarked restrictive relative clause. God created the heavens and the earth. So it's there, this unmarked restrictive relative clause. It's regular Hebrew. It makes sense of the verse in Genesis 1:1 and keeps the dependent clause as well. In the beginning of which God created the heavens and the earth, dependent clause, the earth was
The
functional.
earth was formless and void. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's Homestead, who's primarily making that claim. He's like the main player. There's others who, many who agree with that case. I did a video on my channel correcting Alex O'Connor on Genesis 1:1. He was with a guy, Magnify, and they made Magnify made some big mistakes with the Hebrew syntax.
Is that the one you did with Logan?
Yeah, with Logan Williams. Yeah. So
okay, yeah, I did watch some of that.
Yeah. So in other words, I'm not going to talk about what it means for it to be a restrictive relative clause because I've gone on this for like 20 minutes already. I'll stop there. I do have a whole thing I could talk about there. But you see how there is a implied who, which, that, whom, a relative clause that's just not marked. That's happening in Genesis 1:1, probably, more than likely, and it's happening here. So to the place which you established for them. Unmarked relative clauses, very important for Hebrew syntax, changes how you interpret Genesis 1:1. Close. My giant rant.
Very good. Wow. That is a little bit more than we are used to, but thanks, Joel. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So
I do promise to not be that long going forward.
I did want to bring this up. Shouldn't the fact that we have so much nuance in the text point toward it not being perfectly divinely inspired? And I just want to say on this, I think it just depends entirely on what you think the point is. So sometimes nuance is fun and useful. So there we go. I don't think that should detract from the sense of divine inspiration. It might have to massage it a little bit.
You have to change how you view the text. Yeah, what it means for a text to be inspired. But I can whoever said that, I missed that. I can tell you, like, all of my confessional scholarly friends, they don't have any, like, there's no qualms here. It's like, this is just the way it is. Like any communication in language in humankind, any passing down of text, you're always going to have these issues because you're in a foreign culture and a foreign language. So this is par for the course. It's not something to worry about. Nobody's being shaken to the core, at least not in these circles. So it requires a different way of thinking about it.
Very true. Exactly. So Jennifer still sent us $2 to say thanks, Joel. She really enjoyed that. So yeah. And I mean, it's unusual for me to sit around for like 20 minutes without saying anything. So I will go ahead and read verse 9.
Yeah.
Gevul samta bal ya'avoro sorry. Bal ya'avoro. I'm okay. Bal ya'avorun bal yeshuvun lekasot haaretz. All right. So a boundary you have set, they shall not cross over it. They will not return to cover the land or the earth. So, and again, as Joel pointed out in verse 8, the subject here. So now I think because how did you translate the last stico in verse 8 there? Elmakom's
to a place which you established for them.
To a place which is, so that's referring back to the back to God's creative work. But now this gavul samta, the verbs here samta, and then this is again referring to God. This is his activity. He's setting the boundaries. This is a Cal second second perfect, perfect second masculine singular from seem. This is a 2 vav yod verb where the middle radical will disappear in these in all the active stems actually. So yeah, so that's what's happening here. But then these plurals that follow are their subject is still referring back again to the Mayim. These are the waters. These are the primordial waters that God is contending with in this in this poem. So they're both basically the same. The first is they're both cal third plurals, and they both have these pedagogic paragogic. Sorry, I said pedagogic.
Pedagogic noons.
The pedagogic
so instructive
noons.
Those noons,
aren't they? These have the paragogic noons added to the ends of these. I usually just explain this as again features of probably archaic features of poetry that are passed down through time. I don't know. Do you have anything useful about paragogic
Pedagogic noons. That's funny.
Yeah.
I was actually going to ask you
Oh,
the
you
exact.
actually do?
I have the exact
Really?
same question for you. It's like I haven't looked up pedagogic noon scholarship in a long time. I don't know if it's
Oh.
progressed. I know when I learned Hebrew, it was like, yeah, well, we're not sure. Okay.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the last time I looked, it was all the same. We just have no idea what these are doing. Every now and then they'll appear on your verbs. I do believe it happens much more frequently in poetic texts and in very old texts. So I think that's something that we see. So yes, the first one, avodun is it's a cal third masculine plural imperfect from avar. Notice again the hetaf patach, the composite shava underneath the guttural, which then affects the prefix vowel from ahirik to patach, and then yishvaun, which it was the other one I was struggling to say. Yishvaun is Yeshuvun is also a cal imperfect third plural from shuv, which has actually retained the middle vowel here, and then this last one here, likasot. So this is actually an infinitive construct. Is that a PL? I have to look this up.
I think probably. Yeah.
Don't remember. I think it is.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yep. Yeah.
Yep. So this is a PL infinitive construct from kasa, meaning to cover, and third hey verb very often, especially in these infinitival construct expressions, you will see that hey disappear and then is replaced by the ot ending, which does make some sense. It's sort, in our feminine nominal constructions, you see this taking place. So similar sort of thing is happening here. It just means to cover. And it's the waters are no longer going to cover the earth. They're not going to come back and cover the earth. So this is sort of an interesting reflection, I think, back on this. This is probably a reflection back on the primordial condition of creation, where the earth was covered in water. You could possibly take this also as referring back to something like the flood story.
I was
But
going to ask
I
that.
think
Yeah.
I think it's unnecessary. I think it's probably enough just to just to see that as a description of the primordial watery chaos, the tohu vabohu.
I mean, but the fact that he's saying they're not going to go back, like, I feel like that's where I really see the flood, because of that whole idea of I'm not going to do it again. I don't know, but
Yeah,
I know I said that was a
that's
question mark in my
sure.
mind.
I
I
guess
don't
you
know.
could.
So a question that I
So,
had reading this text
uh-huh.
was, does this author know the Genesis creation story? That was a serious question I had going through it. Like, are there signals, signs?
Yeah,
Um,
right.
is it the Genesis, like what creation story is being referenced? What narratives does this person have? I wasn't sure, but it certainly is evocative of that.
It's but it doesn't have to be. I
No, it
don't
doesn't have to
think
be. I
either,
agree. It doesn't
right?
have to be. Yeah.
So because and even what I like to see when I'm reading this is in my opinion, what's probably happening is that the Genesis creation story and this psalm have uh the same creation story or a similar creation story, that they're both riffing off of. Genesis 1 is kind of rewriting it. This one is, you know, providing poetic reflection on it. So, but it's fun, right?
Hmm.
It's
Oh
all
yeah.
good.
Oh yeah. Totally. Should I go with the next one?
Yeah, let's continue.
Yeah. Yeah. Ham shaleach ma yanim ban halim ben harim yehalehun. So the one sending headwaters in the valleys, between mountains, they march. Let's go with that. So we have at the beginning here a little bit of a switch in syntax. We not these finite verbs, right? But now we've got a participle, the one sending, and so the diagnostics here for a PL participle because of the schwa under the mem at the beginning there. So that's the mem also being diagnostic of a PL participle, and then the reduplication of the lamed you see there with the dogish shalei, and then we also got a furtive patak on the end ach. So that's that throw people off, but sometimes gutturals will get this ach, this a vowel. It's called a furtive being like a sneaky patak that comes in.
We recognize these too. I just wanted to point out,
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt. We
Yeah.
recognize these too because you'll notice the placement, friends, of the patak is not squarely underneath the chet as we would expect. It's basically positioned right underneath that right descender, that right leg.
Yep. Yeah. No, and so that's there for us. We don't have a dogish in the mem for the definite article here, which I think is because it's not part of the root, the radicals of the root. Is that right?
I don't
trying
know.
to, my brain is
I'm curious.
glitching on this. What's going on there? I'm not 100% sure. I think
I
that's
think
what's
you might
going
be
on.
right.
Yeah. In any case, doesn't matter. It's pretty obvious, given the hay there. And so now, but notice what's going on. We actually have to figure out what this is doing syntactically, because the one sending, because we just talked about how not they will return to cover the earth, the waters, and now it says the one sending headwaters in the valleys.
Jason says it's because of Skinnem Levy.
Skinnem Levy.
And I'm unfamiliar with that.
I don't know that phrase. I don't know what that phrase
I'm
means.
unfamiliar with that.
Jason, let us know.
Yeah, please.
Is it what I said though, or is that the technical term for what I just said? I just haven't heard that phrase. In any case, I'll keep going.
But just continue. I'll keep an eye on it.
The one sending. So it's like, okay, how do we put this together? And I think you actually have to insert you are the one sending. So you are the one sending. So it's now an address to God. And so what's fun about this, I think, is that the discourse. Omission of a hard dogish in certain letters when following a
Vocal
vowel
schwa.
vocal schwa. Vowel
I think
schwa.
it's supposed to be
Okay.
vocal schwa.
I think that would make sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Great. Thank you. Yeah. So now it's you are the one sending, and so participles we often find are used predicatively when signaling a present reality. You are the one. You are doing something, and so they actually have a lot of overlap in biblical Hebrew, also with the imperfect. You can actually see them used in similar contexts. I actually went into some of the literature on this just because I was curious. I was like, in Cook's book, Time and the Hebrew Verb, which came out I think a few years ago, absolutely awesome volume. However, not for an intro level. That's more of an advanced Time in the Hebrew Verb. But he does note that, the participle in a predicative, like you are the one doing something, would be equivalent, especially and to an imperfective, which I think is kind of cool. So we've got here, but now it's switched. You are presently the one doing these things. The ones that someone said, I think Joel likes to talk. I do love to talk. You should.
He
You should see
loves to talk about grammar.
Yeah. Yeah, this is my jam. I'm writing a commentary on Septuagint Exodus, and so I literally think about grammar all day, every day. It takes so much time in my life. So you are the one sending the headwaters in the rivers. I'll kind of move through that. I won't focus on anything too much here. But we're now focused again. It's the discourse has moved to the present reality of the psalmist, right? So it was creation in the past, and now we're in the present. The one who does these things, he sends headwaters. He's going to be talking about going forward all the things that God is presently doing, right? It's a really beautiful psalm that way, and like the provision of God for the world around. It's really kind of like scenic almost. It's like this like pastoral kind of view of the land, and it's just like kind of you picture green grass and fields and streams and stuff. I really like it. I'll move. Do I need to do anything here? I want to move at a decent pace for you here, Kipp.
Parse the the last verb in there.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So we've got you're the one sending headwaters. So that second word there is going to be your direct object, and then it's got a fronted prepositional phrase in the valleys between the mountains. They walk is what you would normally get, like a halak. This is the verb halak. But here we actually have a PL of halak.
Very rare PL of halak.
Yeah, I had to look it up. I honestly did.
I
just
yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, how does it function in the PL? What is the meaning there? And what did I find? I found that it occurs earlier on in what is it? What we're in verse 10 right now, but it was in verse 3 for he marches on the wings of the wind, or he rides on the wings of the wind. It's the same PL halak. So BDB says that it's like a stately movement. So it's not just walking, but it's like a marching, like a orderly kind of movement. And so I think that the psalmist is getting at that kind of orderly Genesis 1-ish kind of view of things right here.
Very intense walking.
Yeah. It's right? Orderly and it's stately and it's going in a particular way. Yeah. So I think that's what's going on. It's another imperfective or prefix conjugation from halak, again PL. So you've got the shua underneath the yod to signal that, with the reduplication of the lamed and your other typical diagnostics for the patach and the tsere, and then the obviously plural ending. And there's that paragogic noon, and whatever that puppy's doing over there.
They're all over the place.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. They really are.
It's a feature. It's not a bug.
Not a bug. It's a feature. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what that is. There a textual variant on that? I don't remember.
On letter A.
Letter A there. I don't remember what that is.
What is that? This is verse 10.
Let's see. It's the Septuagint. The Greek translations adds hudata, which is waters.
There we go. Yes.
Yeah. So in the valleys between the mountains, they walk. So waters walk. So they would become the subject of Yechalehu. Yeah.
I always find it interesting, the variety of nouns that take this verb halak. But it's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
And interesting that the Septuagint adds that the Psalter in the Septuagint is notoriously rigid, so it is very likely that the variant Hudata is present in the psalmist's Hebrew manuscript. Mayim would be present there, because we know the translation technique of the person who translated Psalms. They're rigid, so they're not going to typically add stuff in. It's good to know.
They're not crazy midrashists, is what you're
They're
saying.
not. No, depends which one you're going with. Exodus, he kind of might be.
Right. Yeah, right. Yes, fair enough.
Yeah, if you want to
cool.
hear about that, come to. I'm doing a lecture for McGill University on May 26th. It's a public lecture, but it's you have to ask to be invited. If you send an email, it's on my Twitter and on my Facebook. So Twitter, I'm going to be talking about my monograph, which talks about the kind of not midrashic, but similarly these halakhic. Well, we're talking about halakha, no pun intended. Changes that happen in the translation of Exodus. Yeah.
Excellent. Cool. Yeah. Well, I'll be sure to send me the link. I'll be sure to post that as well.
I appreciate that.
On my stuff. Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, let's look at how are we doing for time here? Let's look at verse 11. Yashku kol kayeto sadai yishberu piraim tzema'am. All right. So they provide drink for all and this is sort of it's an interesting expression here. It's all of his animals of the field. This is it's so and these are non-domesticated animals commonly when we see this expression. And then we've got yes, this is the wild asses.
Which one?
This is Piraim. Yeah. The wild asses will break their thirst. They will quench their thirst. Yeah, this is the same word that that is used to describe Esau, I believe. The wild ass of a man from Genesis. It's 22, 23, I think. So this is at the start here, this verb, the first one, so this is a cal imperfect, third plural, and from shaka, meaning to like make to drink, to make drink, to
Sorry,
nourish.
Did you say cal or hifil?
Did I say cal?
I think you said cal, but this would actually be a hifil, I believe.
I think.
This would be a hifil.
Oh yeah, you're right about that. Yes. They made drink.
They provide drink. Yeah.
Provide drink. That's it. So thank you.
I don't know if you said cal. I thought I heard you say cal. Yeah.
I actually think I did. So but yeah, so that's the hifil, cause to drink. The subject here again, these are the waters. So that's why it's plural. And then we've got Yishbaru. This one is a cow from Shavar, meaning to break. And the subject here is the Piraim, the wild asses. So
the wild asses break their thirst. That's the direct object. The sama.
Yep.
Yeah. So I was looking up that hayato because I went, what form is that? And it's actually an archaic and poetic form Yeah, yeah, of the
Interesting.
construct of chaya,
Yeah.
wildlife. Yeah, so it's a construct, an archaic or poetic form of that construct form. So yeah,
Very
I'd forgotten
interesting.
that.
Wow.
Yeah, so I went, what's going on? That's a bit
Oh, that's
confusing.
cool.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Just in case anyone's wondering out there, which they probably
So
are.
Jason notes the O of chato isn't a personal suffix, it's carryover from the case
Yes,
system.
that's what I was just getting at. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. It's an archaic
Yeah,
form. Yep.
that's cool. So yeah,
Yep.
I didn't recognize that. So nice.
Sometimes that happens. Yep. Okay.
I think we
I'm
could
gonna move the
probably each
screen.
do one more.
Sure. Yeah,
And
yeah.
then there's still a couple of questions.
Yeah, yeah, no worries.
Oh,
Oh, you're gonna have to. I'll have to send Josh my notes because I prepared more.
oh, he'll be happy about that. That's nice.
$50. No. Okay. We're at 12, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
Verse 12 now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Alehem of Hashemayim Yishkon Mibain Opoim Yittenu Kol. That one got me, the Kamata Tuf, because so if that everyone sees the actually I could probably use my mouse, can't I? You can see my mouse?
You can. Oh yeah, we can see your
Yeah,
mouse.
this one right here. The Kamata Tuf is the O sound, O. But then the way I was taught, and Jason, I don't know if they do this in modern Hebrew, I can't remember. But I was taught by Jan Joosten that you got to continue the O for the next A vowel when there's an initial Kamata Tuf. So Opoim. But maybe that's not the same in modern Hebrew, which my modern Hebrew is very weak. I learned modern Hebrew and worked on it probably 7 years ago, and I haven't really touched it much since. Yeah, so upon them, birds of, or this is a collective noun, so birds, even though it's singular, birds of.
It's always like that.
Yeah, of the heavens, they dwell. So this is Yishkon. This is an easy one. Finally, right? Diagnostic Hirik.
And
here's the O vowel, Yishkon. You know what it is. It's from Shakan, right? And so upon them, the birds of the heavens, they dwell. And again, we've got an imperfective, the prefixed verb here. But as before, it was past referential. Now it's present referential, even though it's the same form. So you notice how slippery this is when it comes to temporality in biblical Hebrew, right? You can have the same form a few verses earlier, and it's actually past referential, and now it's present referential to the psalmist.
It's literally just like, why bother, dude? You know, I mean,
yeah,
that's what he's thinking. Actually,
who cares? Just figure it out. Just come on. I'm looking at the birds here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's that verb there, to dwell. Upon them, you might think to yourself, what upon what? And we had just looked at
on the wild asses, dude.
Are they on the wild asses? No.
That's it.
The birds are on the asses?
Yeah.
It's
settled.
Yeah, that's it. You've got it. Yeah. I think it's referring back all the way back to the rivers and the valleys, right? The waters in the valleys between the mountains that we saw in verse 10 from my verse. And then we have this kind of like, not parenthetical, but just another kind of comment that you just gave on that scene in 11. And then we're returning to that same idea upon them, not the asses, not the wildlife, but upon the rivers. And you might think, well, wait a second, birds don't actually live upon rivers. That's crazy. But prepositions are weird in languages. So you could say in one language, like even English, he got on the train, he got in the car. Notice how we use prepositions so malleably, and we conceptualize spaces differently and use different prepositions.
We do this same thing though in English with this expression, right? If you live on the lake, or if you live on the river, I mean that usually just means you live right next to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly. No, you've got it. That's a much better example than I gave. Yeah, exactly. You live on the lake, but you're actually right beside it, right? So they're on the river, they're right beside it. That was a perfect example. Yeah, I won't go into more about the Yiktol. I was looking at Cook again, and I would just highly recommend people go check that out for how these imperfectives work temporally. But we have between the opoim, which is, I won't get into improper prepositions here. We could, because you've got two preps, right? You got the min
Yes.
prefix to the bane, so from, between, and the min is called a proper preposition because it attaches to a word. This is a so-called category because linguists just say that they still are doing the same thing. So whether it's a proper or an improper, which doesn't attach to a word, bane, between, from, between, they're both just prepositions. Just so you know, linguists would not distinguish them these days. They're both functioning semantically the same. So from between the birds, and then we've got a textual variant here. So this is, or sorry, not from birds. That was a total mistake. From the foliage. And I believe this is, do I have it here?
The
variant? It's a hapax legomenon. This term.
Opoim.
Opoim, yeah.
Yeah.
It's only here. And there's a cative and a carré, so different pronunciation and written forms that you would see if you clicked on a there. And so there's different. Sometimes it's written with an aleph, sometimes it's not. It might not be. And then I think I saw Jason say in the chat there that the Septuagint, and I believe the Syriac as well, if I remember correctly, has tone petron from between the birds, or sorry, between the rocks. And so they're reading it differently there. Jason, if you have that in front of you, I don't have it in front of me. I'm just going from my memory here. Is it what's the Hebrew behind that ostensibly? What would they be reading the text as, the Septuagint translator? That's a good question. I should know that, but I don't. If you have that, let me know. If you don't, it's fine.
That's for opoim.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure exactly what word for rock they're reading there. Yeah, Jason doesn't know either, but maybe it also could be the translator doesn't know what to do with the hapax and just goes, well, let's do rocks. You don't know and I don't know, so no one knows. It's a hapax. So from between the rocks, or from between rocks, they give, that is the birds of the heavens, they give voice, kol. So that verb there is yittenu. That's your natan. It does tricky things. It loses the noon at first. It kind of assimilates into that dogish you see right here. And so you just kind of have to know that with that verb. And it's plural, third masculine plural. So they give kol, voice, singular voice. Actually, there is a manuscript variant in the Latin and Greek that there's kolam, their voice. So with the suffix 3mp suffix, their voice. So it's possible that the text did read that. And notice that we have a mem starting the next verse. So it's possible that we have a haplography written once, right, rather than maintaining the mem. It might have got dropped out as a scribe was writing. Yeah.
Nice. All right, we'll do one more.
Sure.
Here. Mashke harim me aliyotav mepri ma'aseka tisba haaretz. So this is a Hifil participle, the singular masculine participle, calling back once again to the same subject that we saw earlier. Which verse was that? Was that verse 11, Joel? And you weren't here when we started this, but these masculine singular participles pop up all the way throughout the first few verses of this psalm as well, referring back to the Creator, back to God. So you are the one who gives drink to the mountains, even though we're missing any kind of preposition here that we would expect. Harim is actually the object here. From your upper rooms, which is fun.
That's so fun.
I know, right? From your upper chambers. So the water's pouring out. It's actually kind of, I guess it's probably it probably kind of fits. I imagine this has some recollection of like the sluice gates of the heavens that open and close for the water to pour out from above the rakia.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's
Very
the
possibly. Yeah.
firmament. I think it's probably something like that. Sorry, and that's actually his upper chambers, because it's got the third masculine singular suffix there. Out of or from the fruit of your labor, the earth is satisfied or satiated. So this last verb here, tisaba, this is a cow, imperfect. This is a third feminine singular, the subject of which is ha'aretz here. So, and I think that's that. It's yeah, that first expression is really fun though.
Yeah, absolutely. You got this like mental picture of Yahweh's crib. It's like this big,
right?
big towering house up in the sky. His upper chambers.
The top rooms are the ones that are full of water. That just it's some fine engineering.
That's his pool.
There.
That's the pool.
That's it.
Yeah. And he's got the winding staircase.
That's right.
Yeah, to the third heaven where Paul.
You got it.
Right.
That's right. Okay. There's a couple more.
Should I do the last one just really quick? It's so much fun. It's a controversial thing I wanted to bring up.
Yeah.
Can I bring up controversy for fun?
I suppose so, but I do need to get off and go eat dinner at some point. So
okay.
Make it quick.
I wanted to have a debate about this idea of the Asev, because the Asev is like the herbage.
Yeah.
Which you see appearing in Genesis 1 and Genesis 2. Then you get the Asev Sade, the herbage of the field versus the herbage. What's going on between Genesis 1 and 2? Is this referential to Genesis 1 and 2 with the Asev?
Oh,
yeah. Like I have questions
that's
here.
good. I like that. That's cool.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, this is another thing that made my brain go like, are we riffing on Genesis 1 here? Or Genesis 2 even? And then this is Asev for the. So if I'll quickly translate the verse, just really quick, 1 minute. Yeah. Do I read it in Hebrew or just translate English?
It doesn't matter. We'll probably do it again.
Okay, yeah.
Week,
so the one sprouting the grass for the cattle, and herbage for the work of humankind, ha'adam, just like you see in Genesis, right? The ha'adam.
Avodat ha'adam. That's super
man.
Right.
Yeah.
Because this is what the Adam was made for.
Yeah, and it says there was not a man le'avod to work the field.
Yeah.
And it also talks about there was not yet the Asev Sade.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah, the
very
Asev,
cool.
the herbage of the field. So is this all again riffing on Gen 1, 2, perhaps the beginning of 2?
So cool, right?
Yeah, and I'm not particularly sure, but it does bring up that debate. And so Kipp and I would disagree pretty strongly on I think what's going on with the Asev Sade versus the Asev in chapters 1 and 2. I think the Asev Sade and there was not yet a man working the ground. Sorry, not the field, the ground, or the land. I'm glitching in my mind right now. I'm not sure exactly to finish the phrase, but I think that's a temporal marker saying long time ago. It's not saying there weren't humans. It's saying there weren't humans doing agriculture. That's how I interpret that verse. So it's actually not in conflict with Genesis 1, but that's a debate we're not doing right now.
No, we're not. And I'm all about the conflict with Genesis 1. So, but we don't have time to fight. So we'll have to save it for another night. With many bottles of whiskey.
Yes. Yeah.
So, but we've got to figure this out one of these days, Joel, because I have been asked about this. I have a friend who has said that she very much wants to see you and I sit down and drink scotch and fight on camera. So, it's
I would love to do a Genesis 1-2 fight with some scotch.
it's something we need to sort out and make happen. But that
would be
will
a good subject because it's fun.
It will be.
I'm saying if we did that would be a fun one. Let's talk Genesis 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And I'll try and argue that they're actually the stories are not intention, and you can argue that they are intention, and it'd just be fun.
You can argue that they are scientifically viable. All right. We got some super chats. Jennifer Silvas, thank you for the $10 for a bow tie for Joel. There you go.
Show the cat. The cat's gone.
I will keep the money, and you can go buy a bow tie. That's good, eh? That's how that works. And but thank you very much, Jennifer. We appreciate it. And Joel will go buy a bow tie with his own money. All right. Thank you, Brendan Runyon, for $5. Asks, when will Dapper Dino be on to point out all the Hebrew to Klingon cognates? He's welcome to it. He's never expressed much of an interest in coming out and hanging out on my show on Thursday nights. And it's hard when you don't know Hebrew either, and you're just reading the text in the original Klingon. So did you know this, Joel, that Dapper Dinosaur is very, I don't know if he's fluent, but he's very proficient in Klingon.
Huh. Yeah, that's a feat.
It's a thing, right? It's a thing that some people do. He and Vish got very excited about the fact that somebody has now published like a Romulan grammar and lexicon. Okay. But they're asking me when I'm ready to go learn Romulan with them, and I'm like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? I don't know.
Yeah, I have many languages that are on the list to learn. That is not one.
No, really
it will not
isn't.
help my career or my passions in any way.
Not in any way.
It might make me more creative as a human, which is always a good thing.
It could.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So your kids aren't they're not breaking down the door yet?
No, let them put a movie on, so they're good. Yeah. Probably for another few minutes here, which is awesome. Someone said that I need to supply scotch. We've got a cuneiform name there who said that Joel needs to supply everyone with scotch, to which Kipp could tell you, I could.
He absolutely could. He's got enough for everyone, guys. So
I have a collection of scotch. So
just to let people know, you've done this 2 years now. You've done the SBL Scotch Night.
Yeah, 2 years. Yep.
Right. Yep. You and 2 other guys.
Yeah.
And between the 3 of them, they supply like a lot, like quite a few bottles of scotch for everyone to sample.
I brought one of the rare scotches. Go ahead.
I assume you guys are already making plans to do it again. We
haven't chatted yet. We usually chat a little bit. David Burnett and I. We talk about it. I accidentally broke a bunch of his glasses at the last one. So I don't know if he's mad at me.
Oh dear. Well,
yeah. Not because I was like totally wasted or something, but I packed them up in a bad way. Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah. And they smashed when I had to transport a whole bunch of stuff. It was really late at night, early in the morning, and unfortunately.
You didn't get help from all those drunken scholars stumbling out of your Scotch night to cart the very fragile Scotch glasses?
No. There was actually an entire bottle that got dropped at the night. Like $150 bottle of Scotch was just smashed on the floor.
God.
Yeah.
So, well, I'm determined that if you do Scotch Night again this year, that I will be in attendance. I'm not flying back early
Good. No, yeah, we
this
gotta
time
figure it
around.
out
So,
because I usually
yeah.
have like a really good accommodation. So if you need a place to stay, you can hang out at my place too. I don't know what you're doing. Jason asked twice, so I'm just gonna answer. He asked this earlier. If I'm confessional, yeah. So I'm actually a seminary professor. Just so you know, I work at a Baptist seminary. Yes, so I'm confessional. I would call myself a Christian. Yeah, however you want to define that and parse that out, that would be over conversation. But yeah.
Yes. It's not an easy trip. And as somebody Joel, did you ever travel to SBL from England when you were there?
Yes, I did once. Yep.
So, because the very first time, oh, so you've done it once. You'll understand
From
this.
England. Yeah.
Yeah. The very first time that I traveled, I did the trip to SBL from Europe. I was like, I mean, it's only 4 days basically. And for me, very often it's like 4 days of just getting over the jet lag. And I joked that that all the European scholars who come over to SBL run like a shadow conference in the middle of the night when everyone's awake, and we're all basically sleeping zombies during the day. But yeah, so but yeah, SBL's in Boston.
Yeah, I'll
Anyways,
be there. I've got an accepted paper in Septuagint.
very nice. Very
So
nice.
I'll be giving that. I got another paper that was rejected, unfortunately, but it is now. Did it get passed to
They
the?
move it to another
You get
section.
options. So it was rejected in the first section. Oh, it actually was rejected in the second section too, which
Oh,
is
okay.
unfortunate. It happens. This is par for the
It
course.
does.
Yeah.
Yep.
But my Septuagint one I'll be giving, and then you'll hate this, Kipp. I've never been to ETS, but someone asked me to present a paper, to propose a paper. But for whatever reasons I won't get into now.
Oh,
And so I might actually go to
hilarious.
ETS as well.
Oh my God, dude.
Yeah, and so we'll see.
You can go hang out with all your new Apologetics Empire buddies. That's fun. Nice.
I know of some of them now. But
So
yeah.
you can help your friend.
Are there female rabbis?
So
That's a take.
it's a take. So anyways, do you have anything going on in the near future between now and SBL?
Yeah, maybe I can maybe if I pull up my Twitter, I can give just 1 second. Can I do this for 1 second here, just so I can
absolutely
advertise because I'm presenting my book.
Oh yeah,
for
that.
McGill. For McGill, yeah, I'm pretty proud that they've asked me to do that.
It's awesome.
It is so. I'm gonna share my screen.
Stop sharing the text.
Stop sharing, and then I'm gonna go share screen. I'm gonna go here. You'll see that. Yeah, so there you go.
Yes,
that's
do.
Me on the 26th. I'll be presenting for about 20 minutes on just introducing my thesis. And then Max Haberlin from Germany is responding. And then there's an hour Q&A. So it's a big one for Q&A. Yeah, so you have to just email. I think the email's on there. If it's not, just look up and you'll find it. And if you want to come and hear me talk about my research and what I consider to be kind of groundbreaking research in Septuagint, and others have said as well, come check it out. I would love to have you there. Yeah. Other than that, I do YouTube videos sometimes. Go look at that, my channel. It's basically just me and Kipp fighting each other. That's pretty much all I do.
That's all we do. Yeah. So, somebody's got to gotta keep me in line here, I guess.
That's true. I got to bring you to the straight and narrow. Yeah. It's just if you could read Hebrew, you'd be able to figure this out.
If only I could. So, but in the meantime, I will press on. Tomorrow I'll be streaming at 2 p.m. I'm going to do a stream about the angel of Yahweh. That was there's been a lot of stuff that's come out in the aftermath of that Alex O'Connor, David Wood debate at the Blessed God Summit last month. And I have a longer term plan. I'm actually working on some stuff about the two powers, the so-called two powers heresy, which I think most evangelicals just badly misunderstand and requires some help. But related to this is I'm on the Pacific time zone. Hebrew, Jason. It's the right time zone. So
It is.
it is. But so that's at 2:00 Pacific tomorrow. I guess what is that? That's 5:00 Eastern. God knows when in Israel. But yeah, so as part of this though, another guy I hadn't noticed before by the name of Glenn Scrivener. Have you heard of him? He has a channel called Speak Life, and he did like a whole 40-minute video on the angel of Yahweh, inspired by some of the things that David Wood said in the debate. So I've put together some talking points and a conversation geared in that direction.
Interesting.
Glenn Scrivener, yes. So I'm doing that tomorrow, and then on Saturday I'm going to be back on Dapper Dinosaur's channel, continuing to slog through Bodhi Hodge's terrible book on the Tower of Babel. I'm starting to wonder if we will ever finish it. I'm not sure if we will, but that's what I'm doing. And I should also say something about this here now as well. I've noticed it is just the end. I thought this was going to happen to closer to June, but I just noticed this morning it's today is the first day of the second week of May, and I am literally within 120 of cracking the 20,000 subscriber mark. So it's going to happen in a couple of weeks here, and we're going to do something on the channel probably towards the end of the month. I'm going to invite some friends, not Joel, but other friends.
No. You paid me to do this.
That's it. That's right. But so yeah, I'm going to be doing something, and there will be a bunch of people involved. So look for that. That's coming up, and then I'll probably have some other scholars on later this month as well. So awesome. Oh yes, great. Please, Stardust Lilith, send me a pic of Dr. Kipp.
Yeah,
I am eager to see that. So all right, well, that's it. Maybe next time Dr. Josh will be back, but who knows? We just don't know so often with these sorts of things, but maybe that'll happen.
If he's not, honestly, I've got like two or four more verses ready, and so if he can't do it, just let me know.
Excellent. Very good. Good to know. Thanks, Joel. Thanks for joining me. Thanks everyone for coming and hanging out. I hope everyone has a good night. And as always, Ha Tikva.